Looking through the articles in this month's Rothmans newsletter, I came across a very long list of the various tax-free benefits that employees can receive from employers. Some of them you don't even think about being benefits particularly, the idea of paying for a canteen or something like that for all staff. But you've picked a few out that are certainly interesting, worth noting that it's not as straightforward as it seems.
No, there are quite a lot of tax-exempt benefits, and I think a lot of employers could take more advantage of them. The advantage being that as far as the employee is concerned, it's a way of rewarding them without there being any income tax or national insurance. And of course there is an ancillary benefit to the employer because the employer would not then have to pay any Class 1A national insurance. So quite significant savings if we can provide employees with some of these tax-free benefits. And I've picked out half a dozen from what you say is quite a lengthy list of the perhaps slightly less obvious ones. The first of which is parking facilities. And for some years now, if an employer meets the cost of an employee parking at or near the workplace, and the or near is important, that's tax-free. Of course, that does mean that if you've got an office block with parking spaces, the employees that are allowed to use those parking spaces free don't have a benefit in kind. That's an example of what you were saying. It's not always obvious that there is a benefit, but it would extend to the circumstance where the employer met the cost of a local car park, could be a council or an NCP car park near the office. Well, that cost could be met by the employer, and that would be a tax-free benefit for the employee. So parking facilities is the first. The second one I've picked out is health screening or medical checkups. One
that often gets missed out on the health checks also is eye care. So if you send all your staff who use computer equipment for an eye test, that eye test is an exempt benefit for the individual but deductible for the employer.
Yes, I'm off to the opticians next week actually for my annual checkup, but it needs to be computer related, so it's where the eye test is to ensure they're not being damaged from constantly looking at a computer screen. Mobile phones.
Yeah, it used to be £200, didn't it, the benefit, but now exempt. But only if the employer has provided the phone. If the employer is simply paying the bill on behalf of the individual, that is a taxable benefit.
And only one device per employee,
Absolutely.
So I can't have all of my children's phones on the company. So just one phone for me, but as you say, it's got to be in the company name, so a business contract, not just meeting my own contracted bill. And then two more I've got. One is the well-known beneficial loan. And this is quite widely used for season ticket loans. Well, whether it's for a season ticket or for anything else, at the moment, if an employer lends an employee up to £5,000, the beneficial interest, I'm assuming it's an interest-free loan, so the fact that there is a benefit of having an interest-free loan is exempt. Well, the interesting thing is that from April 2014, that exempt threshold doubles from £5,000 to £10,000. So there will be a greater advantage in those larger employee loans that will be tax-free up to that limit. And then finally, employees who work from home. If you've got employees who are from time to time required to work from home, then the employer can pay them what at first sight sounds a pretty minor amount, it's £4 a week, towards the additional costs that they incur, heating, electricity, etc., lighting, because of working from home. And that can be paid effectively no questions asked.
So an awful lot of benefits there to think about, that whether you're working from home, going into work on the bike, parking outside the office, whatever it may be, an awful lot of benefits there which will be provided by employers to employees, but which will not result in a tax charge. But it's very important that this is done correctly. Very important advice is sought to make sure that the benefits are calculated correctly, included on P11Ds if necessary, and that remuneration planning of this nature is a huge opportunity but can be a threat. Do speak to the guys at Rothmans and make sure you get that right.